Welcome back, everyone. Let's talk about gender-based violence and what the agency set up to tackle that menace has been doing in nipping it in the bud, or at least reducing it to the barest minimum. We're being joined this morning by the Executive Secretary of that agency, Barr Law, Bolanle Afolabi. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I like to first know what exactly has been the mandate of your agency, especially in reducing, if not eliminating, gender-based violence. And when you look at that in line with the records that we find of violence against persons, not just in Ondo State but across Nigeria, but being your area of jurisdiction, Ondo State specifically. So, what has been the effort of the agency in reducing this menace?
Oh, thank you very much. Fighting gender-based violence is not an easy fight, and that is why the agency was established. It's a creation of the law to ensure the reduction of gender-based violence. And in a way to do that, to actualize this mandate, we start with educating people on what is gender-based violence, on the ills and the effects of gender-based violence on the populace at large. We sensitize people in Ondo State. We sensitize people in all our local governments. We have been to 15 local governments of the state. And we have also sensitized some frontliners, because that is the basis, that is the beginning. The judiciary, the court registrars, some health personnel, because we are still continuing this sensitization program.
Okay.
And we are still going to do, in fact, this week, we are going to do sensitization on this gender-based violence, especially the VAP law that prohibits gender-based violence in the state. And we are going to have that for religious leaders, for traditional rulers in the Northern Senatorial District and the Southern Senatorial District. We're also going to do for health personnel in the Southern and Northern Senatorial District. So we are continuing in this bit of ensuring that everybody hears about it, and then to try and ensure that there is reduction in gender-based violence in the state. We also entertain complaints from people, because when somebody is abused, when there is domestic violence in the home, when there is a sexual assault and there is no one to complain, the crime will continue. So when they come up, we try to encourage people to come up and they complain. Speak out, speak to our agency.
I take the risk of assuming, sorry to port into your flow, I take the risk of assuming that the law must be, the people must be familiar with the law.
Yes.
And so I like to assume that it is not out of place if your agency would do everything to let this law percolate and then reach the people, even to the grassroots.
Yeah.
And that might entail translating the law for people to have access to the law and to know the details of the law, so they know what constitutes violence against persons and what does not constitute violence.
We have been doing that. Like I said, that we went to 15 local governments in the states. And we, apart from explaining gender-based violence as an issue that borders on health, on life, and the violation of rights, we explain the violence against persons prohibition law, because that was a law that was enacted, to penalize gender-based violence in the state. So when we go for this sensitization, we usually go with our law. We have the violence against person prohibition law, and the agency also did a very wonderful work by translating the English version of the VAP law into Yoruba language, so that people in the remote area will be able to understand, who cannot read or understand English, will be able to at least understand Yoruba. So we also translated the VAP law into a Braille version for virtually impaired people who are, so that they will be able to read it. So that we just want a kind of all-inclusive understanding of the law by people generally, whether physically challenged or whether is still going to be based on this VAP law for people to really understand, because we know that there is still low awareness of the VAP law in the state. And that is why we are moving around, traversing the states, and then also sensitizing key stakeholders so that they will understand, the contents of the VAP law, the offenses there, and the penalties.
Okay. And laudable, I would say. I mean, the OSAA-GBV, you've been going around and all that. But then the 16 days of activism that ended yesterday, what were the activities embarked on by your agency during this period?
Yes, in this 16 days activity, what we really did was to collaborate with other NGOs, non-government organization, to air program on radio and television. Then I particularly, as one of the, person to also do a kind of vanguard on this program. We have that at FOWOSO program. We also educate the participants there on the VAP law, and we also make distributions of the
many will just feel like it's a creation of the emotion of a macroscopic few in Ondo State. What exactly has been its achievement? Is it serving any purpose?
It is. It's serving a lot of purposes. Thank God. This issue of gender-based violence, it's not something that is restricted to Ondo State. Mm-hmm. It's general.
Very well.
So that was why a law was even enacted at the national, to penalize it. And then it was adopted by the state. We have so many states that have agencies like us. So it's not a microscopic idea of anybody. It's just a way to ensure that we have peace in our society, our children are not violated, and then so many. And since the inception of this agency, people have been coming with complaints, and we thank God, the Lord has really helped us. We have young girls who are raped, that the agency has taken over their matter. We have some matters that are in court. We have some matters that have already been concluded, and perpetrators are convicted and then jailed. We have, we are given support, financial support, apart from medical support, because when they come like that, many of these survivors are indigent. So the agency will pay the medical bills, if it's just, even if it is just domestic violence too, someone, you can even get to the stage of having bruises, injuries, lacerations, and so many other things, that the agency also take responsibility in paying the medical bills. And we have young girls that we have relocated from the scene of abuse, put in shelter. Whether in government, we have government shelter for the young ones, and we have private shelters where the agency puts such survivors, and we pay their school fees and other valuables that they need. So there has been a success record, of the agency against gender-based violence. We also try to resolve conflicts through ADR, alternative dispute resolution. And because you see, our people, when there is a conflict in home, maybe the husband is abusing the wife, beating and all the rest, even when they come, they will tell you, I don't want you to separate us. So it's not separation that I want.
When the husband is beating the wife,
I don't want.
What about when the wife is beating the husband?
Whether the wife or there are women that are beating their wives, and men have been coming up to complain, and we have invited such women. But the husband will say, it's not that I want you to, separate us, but I just want you to warn this woman not to beat me again. Or the wife will say,
what is funny?
Is it
not the same thing?
Not to beat me again. That is all what I want. I don't want the matter to proceed to court, because in fact, there was a man that came. The wife use razor blade to cut, his body. And when we saw it, apart, we treated him, and then we reported to the police to arrest the woman. The woman was arrested, but at the end of the day, it was the husband that was pleading. So leave her. Just warn her. I don't want her.
Could that be an interplay of love?
Any child.
Could that be an interplay of love?
Well, it is. I would say it is. But you see, we have been, trying to talk to them, because people don't really understand. It is not desirable for you to continue to live in abusive relationship, to continue to stay there. But some people will not heed our advice, because by the time today the man beat you, slap you, anything, disastrous can happen. In fact, the other party might even lose his or life. So we are trying to prevent this by telling, look, if it is becoming habitual, the beating, it is becoming regular, it is better that you separate for some time.
Interesting that you have treated an aspect I would have loved to come into. I'd wanted to know what is the tilt of your agency, but now that you've told us that a man also came to report, and then
not even a man, we have so many of them.
So many of them.
Yes, have been coming to report.
Sorry, can I just add, in the course of separating, attending to these cases, using alternative dispute resolutions, and the partners say they still want to go ahead cohabiting, staying together and all that. I hope you've not had cases of sad stories. Do you monitor them further to know if they are living harmoniously?
Normally, if we ask them that, okay, it is better they give space, they should separate. We don't leave them like that.
Okay.
We give them time to be coming regularly, because we have provision for psychosocial support, counseling, and all the rest. So we counsel them, we give them time, and they will be coming. When we now see that, okay, they are ready to live together in peace, then we can now say, okay, you can come together. But for others who feel that, oh, I will still continue there, then it is their choice. We respect their choice. We only advise. But if they feel that, okay, they want to continue to live together, we will still be doing our psychosocial therapy for them. They will come, we'll do counseling, we'll talk to them and all the rest. So if they are able to change, good. If they are not, well, we cannot force them to do what they are not willing to do.
Okay. Men are usually quick to say, oh, we are being violated too, we're being abused too, and all that. But what's the ratio of men to women you receive? Are men responding now to your campaigns? So
okay,
that's
the
what
ratio,
I want to say.
It's low, because
minimal.
the nature of man generally. Men are egoistic. Men feel that, oh, if I'm going through pain, nobody should know. I don't need to cry, because it is believed that men don't cry. And it is because of this mentality that they have, and they carry it all about. That's why we have so many men going through pains, and they go down, and at the end of the day they die. Some of them commit suicide. So, but we don't want this to happen. If you are going through pain, your spouse is giving you problem at home, why don't you come up and speak to us, speak to people that can assist you, speak to people that can help you get out of the problem, so that you can have your peace of mind. It is very important that this mentality of men don't cry, men don't feel pain, please, they should trash it somewhere.
Well, what's been the level of cooperation you've got from security agencies in prosecuting cases having to do with violence against persons in Ondo State?
We thank God. Let me say we are getting support now, unlike before. And I believe that it's because of the low awareness. But we have been training our law enforcement agencies, the police, the civil defense, the Amotekun. We have been giving them regular training. Anytime we have training, we call them and they come. And I know that the Bible says faith comes by hearing. Yes. So when they hear regularly, this is what you are supposed to do. This is the area you are supposed to come in. And with the law, which they have, then I know that they begin to change, and they are changing now for better. So we are getting more support unlike before.
Beyond setting up an agency to deal with this matter, how committed is the Ondo State government to really dealing with issues of violence against persons? I understand that when you find political office holders having interest in a particular thing, you find a lot of investments going to such. Can we say that about your agency, the agency against the violence, gender violence?
Oh, first I want to say that the coming into life or the existence of the agency has been through the help of the wife of the governor, Chief Mrs. Betty Ayawa Kirodolu. She made frantic efforts to ensure, in fact, the idea of the agency is her dream, and she battered it. So, and since the agency has come on board, we have been receiving support from government. You know, we know that resources is not always enough. You understand? The resources is not always enough. So, but within the means of the resources that government has been supporting our agency. Otherwise, the interventions we are doing, we will not be able to do it. There we have survivors that we have spent over 2 million, just one person. A survivor that has gone through 5 surgeries, you know how much it is. We have others that have gone through maybe 1 or 2 surgeries that we have spent not less than 400,000 on one person. Aside from medical bills that we are paying on rape cases and all the rest, you know, we are given empowerment, because you find out that some women who are going through violence is because they are not engaged. They don't have anything doing. They don't have any business. They don't have any work. And so when they come to us, they will be crying for support. Apart from resolving the issue at home, the man is not ready to put anything down. And they are ready to do something. And we look at it. Look, if we want to get this woman out of the problem, we need to support her with, however small, for her to be able to do a bit business, maybe a little one, or a small trading that can earn her, you know, a livelihood. And the agency has been doing that, you know, giving support, financial support to some women, you know, so that they can, you know, start a trade, you know, at as low as 50,000. As low as 50,000, we have been given to survivors who need help, you know, to start a trade.
And that's quite nice, because most of the violence, you know, they stem out of economic hardship in the home. You know, people leave it up to their responsibilities. But now, there are times when accusers, you know, could be someone known to a big wig in the society, maybe a political stalwart or something that has this weight, and they want the case, you know, to meet a dead end before your findings. How do you handle such? Not allowing interference.
Yes, you see, this is Nigeria, and I want to say the truth. We have had 1 or 2 cases like that the agency will say, oh, we're going all the hog to ensure that this perpetrator is punished according to the law. But you have other interests who will say, oh, let us just give the person a soft landing. Give the person a soft landing. And they can use their power to manipulate the situation. It has happened to us. But you see, it's not all cases that we can win. But the little we can do, we will do it. And we'll know that where there is interest, and we'll try all our best to see that there is justice, and we could not get justice, we know that it is because we cannot help the situation. That is the truth.
All right, I have to thank you very much for shedding light on those critical issues. Executive Secretary of the agency for the prosecution and reduction of gender-based violence in Ondo State, Barrister Bolanle Afolabi. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. We wish you the very best in the efforts at reducing gender-based violence in Ondo. So we go on a break. When we return, we go legal and take a look at some very legal frameworks as far as the polity of the Nigerian state is concerned. Please do stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.